Good afternoon, student. Today is revision class.
We will continue with the chapter globes, longitudes and latitudes. Today we will study the heat zones and longitudes. What will I learn in this lesson? The heat zones of the earth, longitudes and prime meridian. Yesterday we studied about the latitudes, the important latitudes. Based on the latitudes, the earth is divided into different climate zones. Now you can see in the picture the sun, the earth. The midday sun is exactly overhead at least once a year on all latitudes in between the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. From here to here, the sun is exactly overhead at least once a year. So this region that is 23 degree 30 minutes north to 23 degree 30 minutes south, or else from Tropic of Cancer to Tropic of Capricorn, this region is called as the torrid zone. Why torrid zone? Because it receives maximum heat. It is called as torrid zone. You will see the countries which are located. Right? South America, Africa. The midday sun never shines overhead on any latitude beyond the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. So, the angle of the sun rays goes on decreasing like this, right? They are not falling straight on, they are falling slantly because of the curvature of the earth. Tilt, we have a slant ray. Slant ray means less heat. The angle of the sun rays goes on decreasing towards the pole. If you go towards the pole, the heat reduces. As such, the areas bounded by the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle, that is 23 degree 30 minutes north to 66 degree 30 minutes north, this region, and 23 degree 30 minutes south to 66 degree 30 minutes south, this region, are called as temperate zone. Why? Because of the moderate temperature. They are neither too cold nor too hot. India falls in the temperate zone. Areas lying between the Arctic Circle to the North Pole, Antarctic Circle to the South Pole are very cold because the sun rays do not fall here. Do not rise much above the horizon. Therefore, the rays are always slanting and provides less heat. So these zones are extremely cold. They are called as frigid zone. Remember, we had a torrid zone, extremely hot, temperate zone, moderate and frigid zone. These are the three heat zones that you will study in 6th. When you will go to 9th, you will study more about the different sections of the heat zones. Now let's do an activity to find out why the heat reduces to the poles from the equator. Now take a torch. Torch light falling on a straight surface is bright and covers the smaller area. It's a smaller area, but it is very bright because of the direct rays. Torch light falling on a slanted surface is less bright but covers bigger area. Even though it covers a bigger area, it is supposed to be very less bright, right? This happens in case of here. Whereas the torrid zone receives more heat compared to any other zone, the temperate zone and the frigid zone will not receive much of heat. Temperate zone receives not as much as the torrid, but the frigid zone receives very less heat from the sun. Now we will move on to the next important concept, that is longitudes. Now to fix the position of a place, it is necessary to know something more than the latitude of that place. We knew the latitudes, right? 0 degree latitude, 23 degree 30 minutes north and south latitude, 66 degree 30 minutes north and south latitude. But it is not enough to find out the places. You can see, for example, the Tonga Islands in the Pacific Ocean and Mauritius Islands in the Indian Ocean are situated in 20 degrees south. But to calculate them precisely, we must find out that how far they are east or west from a given line of reference running from the North Pole to the South Pole. Now these references are called the meridians of longitude. Remember, there you call them as parallels of latitudes. Here we are calling them as meridians of longitude. And the distance between them are measured in degrees of longitude. This is a question asked by a lot of you, why it is measured in degrees. Earth is like a sphere. So the total angle is 360 degree. So it is measured in degrees. Each degree is further divided into minutes and minutes into seconds, just like the time is. They are the semicircles and the distance between them decreases, so as to identify precise time and place. This is done so. Steadily polewards until it becomes 0 at the poles where all the meridians meet, that is here. From there they go from to the pole. Now obviously you are seeing one part of the hemisphere, wait for the another part. Now unlike parallels of latitude, all meridians are of equal length, thus it is difficult to number the meridians. Hence all countries decided that the count should begin from 0 degree, that is which passes through Greenwich, where the British Royal Observatory. While there is the Greenwich, it's also called as the Greenwich Mean Time, the GMT. What we follow is Indian Standard Time, IST. We follow this with our meridian, standard meridian of India, that is 82 degree 30 minutes east. But GMT is 0 degree. Now from 0 degree, its value is 0 degree. From it we count 180 degree eastwards and as well as 180 degree westwards. Now to this side 180 and to this side 180. That completes 360. Therefore, you remember the longitude of a place is followed by the letter E for the east, W for the west, just like the latitude has N for north, S for south. and 180-degree west meridians are on the same line. Now if you see here, I'll explain this later when I go for the map. Now why the need of longitudes? Now look at the grid of parallels of latitudes as well as longitudes. You can locate any place on the globe very easily if you know its latitude and longitude. Probably if you have been to the airport, you might have seen the coordinates, right? The airport where the flight is going to come down, or they look at the coordinates of that place. They don't know whether Mangaluru is there. The radar will tell them the coordinates. In that coordinate, the flight comes down or gets ready for landing. Now, we'll go for an example. Dhubri is a place in Assam, is situated at 26-degree north latitude and 90-degree E, that is east longitude. Find out the point where these two lines cut out each other. Now that is your homework. Try and tell me in which place they cut. Dhubri. The point will be the location of Dhubri, right? To understand this clearly, draw equidistant vertical and horizontal lines. Already I have did it. Label the vertical rows with numbers. Done. 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw some circles randomly on points. Yes, done. Given the names A, B, C, D, E. Now let us name these circles as A, B, C, D. Done. Let vertical lines represent the latitudes. Now these are latitudes and these are longitudes. The vertical lines represents longitudes and the horizontal lines represent latitudes. So the horizontal line and the vertical line. Sorry to get you confused there. Now the horizontal and the vertical lines. Now you will see that circle A is located on B degree north latitude and 1 degree east longitude, right? That is the place where it comes and meets. Find out the location of other circles. Let's see this one. That is C degree north latitude and 3 degree east longitude. That is the coordinates of C. Like this we can find out for others too. Now this is what I was talking about. This is the rolled out map of the globe. This is not the globe. If you cut the globe and spread it, it will probably look like this. Now you will see here, this is the line I was talking about, right? The 0 degree GMT, Greenwich. And to here, this is the eastern hemisphere. And to the west, western hemisphere, right? 0 degree, eastern hemisphere, western hemisphere. 0 degree cuts the world or the earth into eastern and western hemisphere, whereas 0 degree equator, that is the latitude, divides the earth into northern and southern hemisphere. Now very curiously, you might observe a line here called international date line, right? It is very, very important to know, very interesting and very important also. What is this? What is the significance of the international date line? We will study about this in the next class. Till that class, remember guys, there is a small homework. I have noticed you have done the picture of the earth. Go for the next drawing which depicts the heat zones, the torrid zone, the temperate zone and the frigid zone. Please draw the earth with 3 zones. paint them if possible for good understanding. I hope there are no questions. If there are any questions, always you can write to me or we will discuss it. So that brings to the end of part 2 with part 3 and the last part of the chapter. I'll come in the next video, till the dateline video. So I have made this international dateline video. Remember, this is not there in your chapter. It's just mentioned at the dateline. But however, for your information and knowledge, I have made this video. So, shall we begin? Now, some basic things before we proceed. You can see the northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, western hemisphere, eastern hemisphere. Right? For your understanding. Northern hemisphere with N, southern denoted with S, western with W, and eastern with E. Right? Normally, northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, you will see the latitudes. Western and eastern, you will see longitudes. Right? Basic things, we have already studied about this. Longitudes. Don't worry about reading this because we have read about everything. Imaginary lines running north to south. That specifies the east-west position of a point on the Earth's surface. Planes which contain rotation axis intersect the surface at the meridians, and the angle between any one meridian plane and that through Greenwich defines the longitude. This is for the GMT, so don't worry about that one. Longitude is given as an angular measurement ranging from 0 degree to 180 degree. That's prime meridian to 180 degree eastward or 180 degree westwards. Latitudes is a geographic coordinate that specifies the north-south position of a point on the Earth's surface, and lines of constant latitude or parallels run east to west. Now, some of them are Arctic Circle, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, and Antarctic Circle. Already you have located this. So, basic things just to make sure that you understand the concept of time. What is time? A time zone is a region of the globe that observes a uniform standard time. Like we have IST, the world follows GMT. Before 1972, all time zones were specified as an offset from Greenwich Mean Time, established in 1965. Now it passes through Royal Observatory in Greenwich, London. That's why it's called Greenwich Mean Time. Right? Now, Sir Stanford Fleming is the one who recommended that the world be divided into 24 time zones, each spaced 15 degrees of longitude. Now you can see that here. You can see the number also, the time zone number. +9, +11, +12. In India you can see +530. Pakistan you can see +5. After 0, if you go to this, that is the western hemisphere, you will see minus. Prime meridian based at the Royal Observatory Greenwich in London, 0 degree longitude line or the prime meridian passes through Greenwich, which was chosen as the prime meridian. This is the Royal Observatory in Greenwich. Greenwich Mean Time, that is GMT, is the mean solar time at the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, London. So formerly used as International Civil Time Standards. Now normally people call it as UTC, that is Coordinated Universal Time. The term GMT is especially used by bodies connected with the UK, such as BBC World Service and Royal Navy. Now you can see our own. We use the Indian Standard Time, that is 82 degree, 30 minutes east, that is +530 of GMT. Indian Standard Time is the time observed throughout India with the time offset of UTC plus 5:30. It can be GMT also, do not get confused here. Indian Standard Time is calculated on the basis of 82 degree 30 minutes east longitude. Now some history is there. It passes through Allahabad. Only this much. This will be not required. Now look at the timing here. It's in China. It's 2:05. What about London, New York, Tokyo, Paris, Sydney, Toronto? On a same day, the time is different in the different countries. Right? Why is it so? How is it so? That's what the video will explain. International dateline. The international dateline is an imaginary line of demarcation on the surface of the earth that runs from the North Pole to the South Pole and demarcates the change of one calendar day to the next. The ideal, that is international dateline, is roughly based on the meridian of 180 degree longitude. It's roughly, cannot say the same, but roughly can be the same. So if it is 0 degree prime meridian, you know it is because it is a sphere. The other part comes like this. So the other part is 180 degree longitude. So this line, the other part of this line would be 0 degree. Circumnavigating the globe. Now a person who goes around the world from east to west, pay attention children, east to west would gain or set their clock back 1 hour for every 15 degree of longitude crossed and would gain 24 hours for one circuit of the globe from east to west. If they did not compensate by setting their clock forward one day when they crossed the ideal, they would be not getting the proper local time. Now from east to west, if you are traveling to east to west, I'll explain later. You have to set your clock back 1 hour for every 15 degree. Every 15 degree you cross, you have to minus 1 hour. And when you cross the ideal, forward 1 day, 24 hours. Forward 24 hours when you cross the international dateline, if you are traveling from east to west. In contrast, a west to east circumnavigation of the globe loses an hour for every 15 degree of longitude crossed but gains back a day when crossing the ideal. So what happens here is, if you are traveling from west to east, for every 15 degree of the longitude crossed, an hour is lost but a day is gained. Here a day is lost. Here a day is gained. Right? Do not worry about this much. I'll explain very clearly when you go to the next slides. Facts dependent on the ideal, international dateline. Now these are facts taken from other countries. I will just go roughly with this. For the 2 hours between 10 to 11:59 UTC, that's GMT also. Each day, 3 different calendar dates are observed at the same time in different places on Earth. For example, 10:15 Thursday, it is 11:15 Wednesday in American Samoa, Thursday in most of the world, and it is just 12:15 Friday in Kiritimati. So this is to show that the time is different, the days are also different. So how ideal the international dateline works? Let's say you fly from the United States to Japan. Let's suppose you leave the United States on Tuesday morning. Since you are traveling west, the time advances slowly thanks to time zones and the speed at which your airplane flies. But once you cross the international dateline, it's suddenly Wednesday. Started on Tuesday, it's Wednesday. On the reverse trip home, you fly from Japan to the United States back again. You leave Japan on Monday morning, but as you cross the Pacific Ocean, the day gets later quickly as you cross the time zones, moving eastward in an airplane. However, once you cross the international dateline, the day changes to back to Sunday. So here you gain, here you lose. Right? You start on a Monday morning, come back to Sunday. You start on a Tuesday morning, go to Wednesday. So you lose a day, you gain a day. So this is how the time zone works. Thank you for watching. I know